with the removal of treatment, we're saying somehow that's passive, but with the giving of morphine at particular rates and measurements is actually an active thing. So for me, it's more just what's either palpable for us to accept as I'm just relieving pain, rather than this person will die in the next 30 minutes and I'll give this other treatment that can, you know, in terms of euthanasia or assisted dying. And then for me, it's like, well, which one is more humane? Obviously, first of all, it has to be whatever the person considers as the best option for them. But I know if I was to think of myself in that situation, and having been with more than a few people in their last moments, morphine for days and days and days sometimes will leave someone in such an unconscious state, you know, writhing in the bed, just hallucinating, everything. And then I think, would I want that for myself? And maybe some people do. And obviously it's a better option than none. But then I'm like, would I want, if I had some sort of capacity to be able to communicate with my family, sing my last favourite song, tell them all I love them, and then die within 30 minutes instead of being so heavily morphined for days that you don't get those last valuable, beautiful moments conscious? You know, and there's probably something really valuable to learn about life in those last conscious moments when you have to face death. And sometimes I think that, you know, making a distinction that the relief of pain with morphine is somehow more superior to allowing those last moments to be as beautiful as life can give, all given the conditions allow for that. I'm just more going, is there really a difference between palliative care in terms of morphine being indirect euthanasia and assisted dying, given a different type of medicine where someone gives it to themselves, also being the exact same thing, ultimately?
Professor David?
Yeah, just to point that it's not only in countries where it's illegal that make this distinction. Countries where euthanasia is legal, or assisted dying of some kind is legal, they also make this distinction. And you have whatever reporting structures. The reporting structures are for assisted dying. They're not for this. So they still make this distinction. The distinction in relation to palliative care and assisted dying is a distinction which is upheld by all jurisdictions, both those where it's legal and those where it's illegal. And also on a point of a medical point, it is not the case that giving morphine inevitably shortens life. The evidence base for this is very weak. Generally, pain shortens your life, and appropriately given pain relief doesn't shorten your life. It's sometimes it lengthens it, and sometimes it shortens it a bit. But there's no consistency.
The right dose of life, the right dose of morphine will.
Yeah. So you have a good. So within palliative care, and this is important to say because there are doctors who are, with respect to the law, who are reluctant to give pain relief because they think it will inevitably shorten life, and that's just medically not the case. It's medically not the case that giving opiates titrated appropriately to pain relief shortens life. It's a myth. It's a kind of myth.
Would you not say that some doctors suggest morphine and know that it will hasten life? Because I've been in those conversations, so I'm very much aware of what happens in a room. I mean, we could have extended my father's life for 3 weeks had we brought him to hospital. But we were very much assured that if we just gave him this pain relief and if we just gave him the morphine, it would be much quicker for him than unnecessarily bringing him to a hospital. You know, so I'm in those conversations. So there's no point saying morphine doesn't hasten death. It does. If it's given at the right dose, it does hasten death. If the committee would be interested, I can give evidence on this. The people that I know in palliative care often get quite agitated about this. It's a common example that people give for double effect, but it's not actually good practice in relation to palliative care, and it need not shorten life. And in terms of getting the same amount of adequate symptom relief, you can get as good or better symptom relief with no shortening of life in relation to opiates.